In this video, I'll be showing you how to add a tenancy to a unit within Arthur. Adding a tenancy can be completed from various areas within the system. The most popular methods are either through the applicant window or from a unit. This can be done by going into the Applicants tab and identifying the applicant you wish to add to a tenancy. Simply select More and select Add to Tenancy. This takes you to the Tenancy window. Alternatively, you can go into the Properties tab and select Units. Select the unit you wish to let. From there, simply select Add Tenancy. This again takes you into the Tenancy window. Once in the Tenancy window, select the correct tenancy type. This comprises of residential, commercial, short stay and long leaseholder. Ensure that the selected unit has been chosen and select the contract type which is relevant. In our case, we'll be using an AST. Following that, you must select the correct tenancy status, ranging from prospective to rejected. For more information on tenancy statuses, follow the link attached. As I am adding a new tenant who has yet to move in but has passed all reference checks, I will select Approved. If you use the Find Only letting agent, enter their details here. Following that, select the correct starting date for the tenant's move-in. You can either manually enter the end date or just simply enter the duration and Arthur will automatically select the end date. If there's any relevant break clauses or rent review dates, enter those manually, or if it's done on an interval or frequency basis, simply enter it here. If there are multiple tenants to the same tenancy, you have the option of adding that in here. Next, go on to financial details. It is important to note that this is for informational purposes only and does not create any following transactions. Select the relevant rent frequency. I'm going to select monthly. If the frequency is not listed, follow the link below to see how to add bespoke frequencies. Enter the rent amount excluding VAT. And if a deposit is required, enter the deposit amount. If the deposit must also be registered, simply select that box. And if there are multiple tenants on the same tenancy, you have the option of splitting the rent between them. Select the bank account that the rent shall be paid into, and select the deposit account where the deposit should be paid into. Select the rent payment method. I will be selecting bank transfer. Following that, go on to Next Tenant Details. We must now enter our tenant details. We must also enter our recurring charge information. Regarding type, if you are acting as a self-managing landlord, select Direct Rent. However, if you are required to remit to a property owner, such as an agency may have to, select Rent Charge. I'm going to select Direct Rent. There is a short description provided, however you can change that accordingly. Ensure the amount is correct, the frequency is correct. There is no VAT code applicable, so that has not been added. To be invoiced on refers to the date at which the recurring charge is created. The period refers to what the period of the rent covers. The expected payment date is when you expect the payment to be made. This is particularly useful for universal credit or if you have allowed a grace period for your tenant. Select Pro Rata if you apply the recurring charge for the next period. Arthur will automatically calculate the expected pro rata amount and create a transaction which will be shown on the next tenant page. Once all this information has been selected, and if you choose to add a guarantor or another tenant, this can all be done from here in a similar process. Simply select Next Charges. Here we have the option to create additional one-off transactions payable by the tenant or owner related to, say, a move-in statement for new tenancies or an opening balance, or even liabilities for existing tenancies. Property owner recurring charges can also be added in here, which are used by letting agencies. These are payable to the owner and can be seen as recurring or simply done as individual transactions. The management fee can also be done in a similar way. Fixed refers to a fixed amount that never changes regardless of if the tenant has paid their rent or not, or by how much. Percentage of rent received refers to a percentage of the rent received from the tenant. If the full amount is not paid, then the full management fee is not received. Percentage of rent charged receives a percentage of rent charged to the tenant regardless if they pay the full amount or not. Once you have reviewed everything and it all looks correct, simply add tenancy.